Thank you for joining us for this week's weekly training. Starting off with an apology. I apologize. I did not get a video out last week. As you're all very well aware, there was a lot of snow, and then Monday again was crazy. So I am definitely behind, and apologize because I want to get these out on a weekly basis. But I'm going to do a lot of housekeeping today, and then some review of what we've gone over in our deep dive of Connecting First, and a little new training, and hopefully this one will be quick. So first of all, with the housekeeping, a few things. Number one is that we really need every single person to be filling out the self-reporting questionnaire for COVID symptoms. I know this is going on for a long time, but it's very important that you fill that out each day. We are, for the past few weeks, have been keeping a list of who is and who is not filling them out. So you will be getting gentle reminders to fill it out in the next day or two, followed up by a more firm reminder if that's what it takes. So, but anyways, please just fill those out. Keeps everybody legal, and also keeps everybody safe. Secondly, the mileage forms. I know that this is a change that we communicated last time, or not last time, a while ago, but we used to have you put PU and DO under your mileage sheets. We do not want you to do that anymore. So when you're filling out your mileage, please write down the maybe student's first name, maybe the initials of the school. I think the initials is the easiest thing to do. But like I've said before, Jen spends a huge amount of time going through the mileages, making sure they're accurate, because that is how we provide documentation to the school district so that they can get reimbursed by the state government at the end of the year. So it's very important that these are accurate. And so she spends a lot of time going over these, and it's very difficult, especially when students are absent, to figure out the day's mileage if it just says PUDO. So without further ado, here is a bad example of the mileage sheet. Right there, it says PUDO. That is difficult. Here's a good example of the mileage sheet, and all it has is the student's first name, and then school, and then yard. So hopefully just as easy as PUDO, but it'll save hours of time and a lot of aggravation for Jen. So please continue doing that. I know most of you are, so thank you. And finally, incident reports. And so we are at the time of the year where when you go from winter into spring and the home stretch of the school year, students have a tendency to act up a little bit. Sometimes teachers have a tendency to act up a little bit, but everybody is just getting kind of rammy. So once again, that's why I want to focus on Connecting First. But a key part of us supporting you, as far as me as management supporting you, is you submitting incident reports for a multitude of reasons. So I would rather have you write out 5 incident reports and let us know exactly what's going on the van than for you to come in 3 weeks from now and say, hey, this has been happening, every other day for the last 3 weeks. This student has been cursing at me, and I'm sick of it. I'm done. Nobody does anything around here. The school's not helping, nothing. The first question that I'm going to ask, or Jen's going to ask, is, did you submit an incident report? Those help us support you so that, number one, the student can get consequences. Number two, if the school's not giving out consequences for the behavior that's on the van, then I can go to bat for you. I can say, hey, this driver has submitted 5 incident reports about this behavior and nothing seems to be happening. We need to talk. I can't do that if there's no incident reports. So First of all, we want to help correct the student's behavior. Second of all, it helps us manage. Third of all, it really does help the support network around that student help evaluate that student's behavior, because a bad ride into school can be an indicator that they may or may not be getting their medicine at home, or they may not be getting breakfast at home or something like that. So these really do help us help the child and help you and help the school. And so please don't hesitate to write out an incident report. I'm not saying that every incident report is going to be acted on by the school district right away in the way that you'd like them to act on it, but I would much rather have a bunch of incident reports on my desk or on Jen's desk that helps us communicate with the school district. So those are the three pieces of housekeeping that we have. And now I want to dive into the core value of connecting first. And we're just going to start with a quick review of what we've done before and make this short. So here's our review. Number one, you are not only in charge of the safety of your van and the cleanliness of your van and your professionalism, you are also in charge of connecting first with the students. So the first training that we gave, we talked about the analogy of the string. So your connection is like an invisible string between you and the students. And each string has an anchor point that you can pick up and you can put down at any point. And as the driver, you want to be the person who is always extending that connection string in a way that that other student is going to pick that up. It may be super easy to connect with the students. It may be super hard, but once you have that connection built, then your job is to increase the strength of that string. The second training, we talked about forgiveness. And so this is a completely internal process, and your student should not even know that you went through this process. They should just be able to feel the results. So you forgive the student by welcoming them back on your van, and in your heart being able to wish good things happen to them. That's a key indicator that you've forgiven somebody, is that in the core of your being, you want good to happen to them. You don't want them to be punished for the bad that they've done. And so that was this training number 2. And then number 3 is then, how do you reestablish boundaries? So number 1, establish the boundaries before the student gets on the van. So this student has created an incident. You need to work with the management here, the school district, so that we can reestablish boundaries before the student gets on those vans. Develop them as a team. You are not the lone ranger, and you are not the primary enforcer of these new boundaries. So when that student gets back on the van, greet them with a warm welcome, and then very quickly and succinctly articulate the boundaries and present something positive to reinforce those boundaries. It can be a sticker, radio choice, whatever. It's your job to know the student. And I know that you all do a great job getting to know your students. And then finally, the only new part that I'm going to add to this today is consistency. You can't just do this once. You have to do this every day. And it needs to be part of your daily practice, especially with students that are difficult. When working with difficult students, your ability to be consistent with what we just learned is going to really be the determining factor as to whether or not you are successful. So you've gotten the skills. Now we just need to be consistent. So after this, we're going to talk about the specific skills that you can use to not only connect with students, but manage them while you're driving safely. Thanks for coming along on this deep dive and having patience with me as we discuss some of these topics that you may not have thought directly impacts your job as a driver or as an aide. And the irony is not lost on me that we're talking about consistency on the first week that I missed a video. So once again, sorry about that. If you use these specific skills that we give you But inside, you haven't forgiven the student or you really can't stand the student, the skills that we're about to give you next week won't work. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a great member of this team. And I'm looking forward to next week where we actually learn some of the specific skills that you can learn to connect with the student and ultimately manage their behavior on the van. Have a great week and hope you enjoy the warmer weather. I certainly am.